Hey everybody, it is Jen and Kanata. No, don't you go growling. Oh, poor Peter, come here. Apparently, right when I start a video, Cat decides to be silly. So, I just wanted to share with you some things on saving money. Some pantry staples that'll save you time as well as money. So, these things you, of course, buy at the lowest possible price in your area. They go on sale often. Um, Never buy full price, but having these pantry staples in your kitchen will help you make um, recipes that you would otherwise have to buy, like special sauces and stuff. So having staples like olive oil and canola oil, vinegars, and that you can make your own salad dressings. You don't have to buy salad dressing, and you can make just enough that you're going to use that day or the next couple of days. So you don't have to make a huge amount. So just in case the flavors go stale or just get muddled. But as I was going to say, I'm going to give you some ideas of things to have in your cupboards so that you can cook food at home to save you money. So you don't have to go out and buy stuff. You don't have to go out and buy a whole bunch of specialty sauces or specialty ingredients. Once you have these things, just keep an eye on them. When they get low, look for sales. And that's what I'm going to share with you. So, number one, olive oil. Olive oil or coconut oil, whatever the oil you like to use for things like salad dressings or cooking. Same with like canola oil or vegetable oil too, because that's the cheaper oil. So if you have a cheaper oil mixed with olive oil, you can mix half and half. But for salad dressings, you want to use olive oil. Um, Look around in your area, make sure it's real olive oil and not the fake stuff where they're mixing it already because you're paying that price. Make sure, like, if you're going to mix it yourself. Um, Here in Canada, where I live, I can get a liter of olive oil on sale anywhere for $3 to $5 Canadian. So uh, if I get the bigger cans, so every month or 6 weeks, olive oil is on sale for those prices. So I make sure I have two on hand, one I'm using, one in the cupboard, just in case I don't go to the store often and find it on sale again. That way I'm just always covered. Soya sauce or tamari sauce, they will season that they're like season anything that you have Asian style, um, any type of recipes are a good salt substitute. They have a lot of umami flavor to give you a little different flavor profile for your food. Those I always make sure I have on hand. I like going to the Asian markets for that. And I'll buy the big, huge jug. It's about like 2 liters, at least a liter to 2 liters. It's much cheaper in bulk. Balsamic vinegar is also another one. Making your own balsamic salad dressing is so much cheaper. I get the cheapest bottle of balsamic I can find in the grocery store. Usually about 300 mils or so. So it's about um, a cup and a half to 2 cups bottle, and I pay usually under a couple dollars, maybe 250 if it's the larger bottle. Udon noodles or ramen noodles or um, egg noodles, like Chinese egg noodles. You can make so many like Asian dishes so quickly for so cheap. Like the most expensive thing is probably the noodles, which you're paying. If you're using ramen, you're paying like what here in Canada I can get them 4 for $1, sometimes 5 for $1. I was getting it 5 for $1 since the summertime, but this past grocery haul, I can only find them 4 for $1. So price is going up 25 cents. But if I was getting udon, I get them 4 for $2, so they're 50 cents. But I can make those noodles with the soy sauce, tamari, ginger, garlic, salt, pepper, and chop up whatever vegetables you have on hand, or use the frozen vegetables, or there's a frozen Asian mix. And whatever leftover meat you have, you've got a wonderful stir fry with noodles that you'd pay in the restaurant at least $10, if not more. You can make it at home for like 3 or less, depending on if you're literally truly using leftovers, which might get thrown out. So, have other things besides you have pasta, barley, couscous, rice, um, any type of other starch. Starch is a really good thing to have to fill up bellies. Okay, if you are gluten free, look for the gluten free options on that. But you can always get these items, especially like rice and pasta, on sale. They go on sale every 4 to 6 weeks, especially if you look at the holidays. So if you look at international holidays in your like in the world, okay, so like whether the Christian holidays, whether they're Muslim holidays, whether they're Jewish holidays, that type of stuff, all of these things are used in so many different cultures, right? That the grocery stores put them on sale a week or two before those holidays. So if you look at before Ramadan, before Eid, before Hanukkah, before Christmas, all those things, 1 or 2 weeks, because they know that people are going to go buy the staples for the meals just in case they run out because they don't know if they have it in the cupboard. Because most people are not looking at their cupboards on a regular basis, and they just buy like, oh, I know Christmas is coming up. I'm gonna make sure I have icing sugar, brown sugar, flour, yeast, you know, to do my Christmas baking, and butter. Well, if you look in your cupboard, you might have enough, or you buy extra nuts just in case, walnuts, pecans, almonds. But then you might have some already still in your cupboard that you're like, well, now you got extra. I mean, I do that too. Especially when I don't have a ride, but I try not to do that as much lately. This past year has been a really different vibe. I'm trying to work at trying to keep my pantry still a working pantry, but have the amounts more contained and actually be able to be used. Because some things like my nuts, if I don't throw them in the freezer, because that freezer, remember, freezer space is a premium, or if I don't vacuum pack them, they can go rancid. And then I'm feeding the squirrels. I don't necessarily throw them out, so I'm feeding the wildlife, but I'd rather eat the nuts myself. So, um, other things to have is bread. So when bread's on sale, buy extra, put in your freezer. Bread is so easy to defrost, and it doesn't change the texture. Buns, hot dog, hamburger, or dinner rolls. Dinner rolls are usually easier to defrost, like for me, to defrost and not change the texture. Sometimes hot dog and hamburger buns, um, I don't seem to have a very good knack of defrosting them well to be used for hot dog or hamburger buns. I can defrost them well to be used for like garlic bread or for things that um, can be pressed like a panini or like a grilled cheese type thing. Um, that's kind of my Achilles heel. Same with freezing milk. So whenever I have extra milk, um, I'll freeze a little bit and and that, but I will only use that for cooking for myself because when I defrost it, it doesn't always defrost the same way as fresh milk, but it's still good. It's not bad. It just sometimes it separates a little bit. So it's good for baking, but not necessarily. My mom used to be able to do it for drinking. Was able to defrost it perfectly fine. I haven't quite had that knack yet. That's my Achilles heel. Everybody has one, right? My mom's was she couldn't thicken gravy for the life of her. She could put 10 pounds of flour in there and it would never thicken. Um, Also, always make sure you have canned beans, like in a can, and dry beans. Okay, dry beans take longer, and you have to prepare it the day before. So either soak the day before and then cook it up, but they're so much cheaper. Or you could do the quick soak, or if you have an instant pot or a pressure canner or a pressure cooker of any type, you could cook them the same day. It just takes you just plan it about 2 hours before you cook, and you can get all done the beans cooked, and it tastes just like the canned stuff. But always have some canned ones, um, for when those times where either you run out of the dry beans or you forgot to prepare them and you need it, it's 4 o'clock and you need something for supper at 6. So make sure you have some on hand. I always make sure I have kidney beans, either red or white. I always have at least 1 can of chickpeas, as well as like a can or two of black beans. Those are the beans that we tend to have in my house. I think I have currently right now a can of lentils. Um, but lentils are really easy to cook from dry. Like you don't have to pre-soak them. That I usually just keep them dry because we love different lentil soups, especially when you go and change them from the regular plain lentil soup, which is just fine, which is like onions, celery, carrots, salt, pepper, garlic. If you have bacon, you could throw some bacon in there first to saute all these vegetables, and then put the lentils, and you have a wonder and broth, and like chicken broth. But if you don't, that is like a staple um, lentil soup that will fill your belly. Um, but if you want different flavor profiles, look for recipes of lentil soup from other countries. Like I love the Indian flavored lentil soups. There's a wonderful Mexican lentil dish I love, and there's a Middle Eastern lentil dish with onions and stuff. Oh, it's so good. But these things are dirt cheap and they're high in protein. So make sure you have lentils, and even if you don't think you like lentils, try and have them once in a while because they're healthy and they have some vitamins that you can't get in other foods. Um, Another thing to have is like flax seeds. Okay, either ground flax seeds or whole. You can keep them in the freezer; they'll last forever. They are great to make an egg substitute. So if you run out of eggs when you're baking, you could take I think it's a teaspoon of flax seeds or ground flax seeds and half a teaspoon of water, and it makes the consistency for an egg replacement. So even if you have an egg allergy, and it doesn't change the texture. If anything, it adds fiber and protein from the flax seeds. You can usually get them in bulk, big bags. But what I like to do, since we don't use them as often, and I don't want them to get bad, is I usually just go to the bulk food store and get them and filled in like a mason jar, and then they will last forever. If you throw them in the fridge or freezer, they last longer. They won't go rancid. But for them to go rancid. It takes about a year to a year and a half for them to even think about going rancid. So as long as you use up within that time, you're good. Also make sure you have broth either in cartons or in cans, whether you homemade that you made yourself, pressure canned, or in the freezer if you don't have a pressure canner. Also having the powdered broth, or I have the chicken bouillon, or broth or bouillon or beef, just so that you can add some flavor to things that you cook with water, and it a little bit of broth on plain rice, like to cook rice in, can change the flavor of the rice. So even if money is tight and stuff, you can make cheap, dirt cheap meals taste good. So and add seasoning, add salt and stuff like that. Also, make sure that you have your sugars. Um, Whichever sugars you use, white sugar, brown sugar, maple syrup, honey, corn syrup. Corn syrup has been in the news of not being that healthy, so I tend to not really use it that often. But I like to use maple syrup. A, it's natural, it's Canadian. B, well, C, I guess. We can get it here on sale about a liter for about $10 Canadian, 10 to $12. Um, any given couple of weeks. The normal price for it for about a liter is about 13, 14, $15. From the store. Going to Costco, it's like 12.99 for a liter, but I can usually get it for about 10, $12, or I get the 500 ml cans for about 5.99, which is about the same, about 10, $12. But I always like to have a can, like because it lasts longer, and there's no light going to it. It's not going to crystallize or anything. In the top of my cupboard, just in case, because in dead of winter, it's really nice to have a treat of the boiled maple syrup to the candy temperature and putting it on snow. It is, and then taking a popsicle stick and rolling it in there. It is a wonderful little treat to kind of break up winter and look at the snow as especially after like right after a fresh dump of snow is something to look forward to. So we like to do that. Guess you have to make sure that there's other people here because that's a lot of maple syrup taffy to eat. Um, Look in your where you are. Here in Canada, we have in the Loblaws brand, they have naturally imperfect fruit with you could say 40% off the savings. So normally, say a 4 pack of peppers I can get on sale for like say $3. The normal price is about $4. Well, they will usually have a package of eight, so that's double the fruit. But the peppers are kind of bent, like they're not bad. They're just like it just grew weird. Um, for like $4, so you get twice as much fruit or vegetables for or like maybe 2 small apples, like, a whole bunch of apples are either small or really big versus the perfect uniform size. Um, or they might just not have as great coloring of apples. They're not bad, like, they're not bruised, but look at naturally imperfect fruit or ugly fruit, some companies have it, and, you can save, like, 40 to 50% off. Another thing to check out, this is also what I do, is go to places and look at the clearance section of the marked down fruit and vegetables, meat. So you could save 50 to 75% off easily. Like I've gone there and gotten like, sometimes at Walmart, they'll have the fruit and vegetables marked down for like a buck or two as a bag. And I'm like, well, there's might be a couple little brown spots or the bananas are ripe, like ready to eat now, but not like the skin might be a bit brown, but the bananas inside aren't. So they are good to eat now. They're good to freeze. They're good to make banana bread, you know, but you can get them for like a buck. You can't beat that price. Also look for like markdown cheeses and stuff. Usually when cheese goes on sale, like the deli cheese, not like the Kraft or Cracker Barrel or that, but the stuff from the deli that's prepackaged and sealed, those cheeses have a date on them. So when they're closer to the date, they usually put them on with the 30 or 50% off sticker. I like to buy them and then keep them. And either if they're like, if they'll last long past that date because they're cheese. Think about the process of how they make cheese. It's literally fermented. Like, they dry age it, So, especially if you get, like, blue cheese this is hilarious. I picked up blue cheese, it's marked down. Blue cheese is fermented blue, like, it's already going bad cheese. It's not gonna get any more bad, if you understand, but I got it for a recipe. I got, like, 50% off, so I paid, like, $2 for this block of cheese. I'm like, "Okay." Since we're not big blue cheese people, it got used. I made a blue cheese dressing with the rest of it, and it was good. Um and these things, like same with cheeses, if you buy markdown cheese, especially cheddars or mozzarella, you can throw them in the freezer. The only caveat of that being in the freezer is when you defrost it, it's not good to be sliced because it crumbles. Okay, but if you think about it, throw the cheese in the freezer, you crumble it. It's just as good as shredded, right? And you didn't have to do the work, right? So throw stuff in your freezer and then use it for wherever you're going to use shredded cheese, like nachos or casseroles or pizza. You know, it's going to melt just the same. It's going to taste just the same. You just can't slice it like you would have like put on cheese and crackers. Use your freezer to store meat on sale. Every every 2 or 3 weeks, meat goes on a rotation anywhere in the country. Okay, 1 week chicken is on sale, 1 week pork is on sale, 1 week of beef is on sale. Every 2 or 3 weeks, they go on sale. Sometimes the sales are like really good, but every two times of the sale, it's a really good price. Like whatever your bottom down dollar is for buying stuff. So if it's not a great price this time, the next time it goes on sale, it will be a great price. So stock up on the pieces that are on sale that time. So whether it's ribs, whether it's roasts, whether it's steaks, whatever, and put them in your freezer. Also, look just before the sale ends, there's going to be a lot of things marked down, like your grocery store, because it's close to date. Especially with things like beef. Beef is dry aged, so it's not going to go bad. Like you buy it before the date, right? And then you freeze it. What I like to do is I buy it before the date, take it out of it, and put it in a Ziploc bag or in a vacuum seal bag. Put the seasonings I want to put in with that meat, whether it's a roast or whether it's steaks. I'll season them up, a marinade, then zip it up, throw it in the freezer so that when I take it out of the freezer and it's frozen, as it defrosts, it's marinating. So I don't have to do the work. I don't have to wait. I just have to wait till it's defrosted enough to cook. You know, and let nature, let the freezer do the work for you. If I'm going to use my vacuum sealer, the vacuum sealer itself marinates, like it pushes the marinade into the meat so fast, and it's just beautifully. So you could take like crappy cuts of meat and make them taste like, prime rib. Like I'm serious here. Like it's really good stuff. Um, things. Look at things that you can buy in bulk, um, and where to buy in bulk. So at your local grocery store, certain things you can buy in bigger packages, like rice, um, flour, sugar. Um, you can buy in bigger oats, big packages. But you can even buy them in bigger packages if you go to other places like warehouse stores like Costco or Sam's Club if you have a Sam's Club. Or we have a wholesale warehouse store. So, there's one around here. I've never been because I don't drive, so it's not close enough to me. But look at there, but also look to see at like restaurant food suppliers. Some of them will let you go and shop there, and you get like 50-pound bags of flour and 50-pound bags of oats and stuff. And if you break it down, the price per pound, it is like dirt cheap. So check out in your area where you can buy in bulk. And some things, like for example, here in Canada, we have a store called Bulk Barn. So we can bring containers or use their containers to buy stuff in bulk. Some of the things bought in bulk are cheaper than buying them at the store. The nice thing about it is that you can only if on certain ingredients or on spice, like especially spices, I get my almost all my spices at the bulk store because I'm paying 10, 15, 25, maybe $1 on spices. That if I bought the spices at the store, they're $1 to $5. Like look at the McCormick um, spice prices. It doesn't really matter what they are, but it's like $3 or $4. But you can get those like the spice mix, like the steak spice or whatever rub already pre-made there for much cheap. You just get enough to fill your container. You could bring your actual spice jars there and get them weighed and then fill them up and then they weigh them and you pay the difference. It's really neat. But certain things that they have there, if you look at the price of in bulk versus store bought, like for example, buying sugar there is not cheaper than what I can get sugar when it's on sale. It might be about the same price per pound if I bought a pound of sugar as a pound in the store, roughly, maybe even a bit more. But what's nice about them is that you can buy just what you need. So if you have a small kitchen or if you're an individual that don't need huge amounts, especially of things that will go bad, sugar is not one of them, but you could buy smaller amounts. Also, look for no name brands, store brands of food. So when you're looking at canned foods or pasta or bread, look at the store brand. 90% of the time, the store brand of the product, like mayonnaise, for example, is made in the same factory that makes Kraft uh, Mayo or Hellman's or any of the big names that are in your area. Okay. I know this for a fact that somebody I knew that worked at one of these factories said, yeah, the factory makes this one and the store and like two or three different store brands. And I'm like, oh, and it's the exact same recipe. Just they have to put their store and the store brand you're saving like a dollar or two off of it. Like I buy my canned vegetables. I very rarely get Del Monte, right? Unless they're on sale. But I can get my canned vegetables for 79 cents a can, 88 cents a can. Well, Del Monte is always like a dollar unless it's on sale. Um, and there's no taste difference. Now, same with frozen. Look at frozen versus canned. Frozen is frozen straight off the vine, the freshest it can be. Unfortunately, my family's not so big on a lot of frozen veggies. They prefer canned ones. So I pick up what my family eats. Plus, my freezer space is at a premium, so I don't really want to fill it up with a bunch of vegetables that my family's not too fond of. I'd rather fill it up with frozen fruit. Because here in Canada, fruit, especially in the wintertime, is so expensive. So I buy lots of frozen fruit, especially in the wintertime, so that we can get our vitamins. Because vegetables and fruit here in Canada in the wintertime is at least 1.5 times of what we pay during the summer. Like so, make sure you check out what is available in your area and price match. If you have a store that price matches, like most of the Walmarts, well, up here, most of the Walmarts in Canada price match, as well as here, Superstore price matches and Freshco, as well as a couple of independent stores will price match. So price match. Look what's on sale in your area. Buy what's on sale at the stores they're on sale, or price match at a store that price matches. Also, use the Flip app, FLIPP app. That's where I have all my flyers, and I can make my grocery list right there. I know which store has what on sale. I either go and shop there, or I price match at Superstore. And at Superstore, I get PC points, which is like rewards loyalty points. And so I like getting double bang for my buck. Um, that's that's about it on some ideas of how to save money. And using pantry staples. Always make sure that your pantry has things that you use, and also make sure that you have things that if you run into financial hardship, that you can make the things that you would normally buy. For example, make sure that there's yeast and flour, sugar to make bread. You know, bread will fill your belly. You know, if you had eggs, makes better bread. An egg bread. But make sure you have some dried fruit, some dried vegetables, or some, like dehydrated. Do it yourself, saves money. If you already have them, you can buy them also pre-bought too. Same with nuts and seeds; those give you some protein. So saving money, and also look at how much protein you are feeding your family, because studies have shown that we feed our family twice as much protein in a given meal, like a big a piece, than they really need. So try and rethink of how to cut down those portions. Give 3/4 of that or half of that. But what I've also found ways that to stretch your protein is if you use ground meat, like if you use ground chicken or ground turkey, 1 pound can be of ground meat can be stretched so much further in a sauce, like a pasta sauce, in a casserole and stuff, than 1 pound of meat. The family, your family doesn't really notice it when it's all stretched into a casserole where you have a bite that has some meat, some vegetables, some pasta, some sauce. So look at what your family enjoys and try and have those ingredients on it in your pantry so that you can make those recipes in a pinch. And it'll definitely save you money. Menu plan, menu plan, menu plan. I can't stress that any further, but you definitely need to menu plan. It makes life so much easier. But, and that's the end of my video. So if you like this video, if you'd like more tips and stuff, and if you'd like me to share with you a bunch of recipes that I personally enjoy, please comment below. If you'd like me to look or try a recipe that you yourself love, message me as well. Comment below what's the recipe. I'm always game to try new things. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up, like the something, subscribe and share this video through on Twitter or Facebook or with your friends. Maybe this might help them, save a few bucks and rethink their shopping habits, rethink their pantry, rethink how they use their ingredients in their house. Okay, well, bye, friends. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.